10 years in the US, will you get a green card or end up in Guantanamo? What if your green card finally became possible? Just as ICE pulled you over for broken taillight? Some immigrants are finally seeing relief after 10 years in the US. Let's break down the 4 biggest stories reshaping US immigration right now. 1. Green card through cancellation of removal, 42B. Let's start with the part that gives some hope. If you've lived in the US for 10 years or more and are now in removal proceedings, there's a path, though it's narrow, that could lead to a green card. It's called cancellation of removal for non-permanent residents, or Section 42B. But this is not a typical application you can just file on your own. Here's what you need to know. You must already be in removal proceedings before an immigration judge. You must prove you've lived in the US continuously for at least 10 years. You must show exceptional and extremely unusual hardship to a US citizen or green card holding spouse, child, or parent if you're deported. You need to demonstrate good moral character, and you cannot have serious criminal convictions. And finally, only an immigration judge can approve it, not USCIS. If granted, it gives you a 10-year green card and a lifeline to stay in the US legally. Sounds promising? Yes, but here's the problem. Most people don't even know about this, and those who do often struggle to meet the strict hardship and documentation standards. 2. Trump's new crackdown, Guantanamo Bay
We're going to have to seal up those borders.
Now to the most shocking update. According to multiple credible reports, including Politico and The Washington Post, the Trump administration is preparing to send thousands of deportees to Guantanamo Bay, including Europeans. Yes, the same Guantanamo Bay used during the War on Terror, the one criticized by human rights groups worldwide. The goal? Free up space in detention centers across the US and create a high-security staging area for mass deportations. Here's what we know. Up to 9,000 immigrants could be transferred to the Guantanamo Naval Base. They include nationals from the UK, Ireland, France, Germany, Italy, Turkey, Poland, and Ukraine. The detainees' home countries may not even be informed ahead of time. Conditions at the facility? Rodent infestations, limited food, poor sanitation, and only 1 hour of outside time per day. ACLU lawsuits claim the cost to hold just one immigrant there is $100,000 per day. Why now? Because Trump has been under pressure to fulfill his promise of the largest mass deportation operation in American history. And Guantanamo is being weaponized not just as a holding center, but as a message. You could be next. Amnesty International condemned it outright, calling it a profoundly cruel move and warning it violates international human rights law. Even Trump's critics say this strategy is more about fear and optics than actual immigration enforcement. 3. The economic fallout and a surprise executive order. So while thousands may face detention and removal, Trump is also facing heat from his own supporters, especially in the agriculture and hospitality industries. Why? Because these sectors depend heavily on undocumented labor, and they're feeling the pain of mass deportations. Here's the reality. Nearly half of all U.S. farm workers are undocumented. Hotels, restaurants, and leisure services rely on thousands of long-term undocumented employees. Deporting them creates labor shortages that threaten food supply chains and service economies. Trump has taken notice. At a recent White House event, he admitted, "Our farmers are being hurt badly. We're going to have to do something about that." He promised a new executive order would be announced soon, aimed at protecting industries that depend on migrant labor. No details yet, but the likely goal? Create exceptions or delays in deportations for workers in critical sectors. Expand or modify the H-2A visa program to bring in seasonal labor. Offer temporary protections to those currently working in agriculture or hospitality. USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins stated, "The president understands that we can't feed our nation or the world without that labor force, and he's listening to the farmers." Could this be a carve-out for economic survival? Possibly. But critics say it reveals the inconsistencies in the Trump crackdown, harsh enforcement for some, economic exceptions for others. A nation split between control and chaos. What's unfolding in June 2025 is not just a legal battle, it's a tug-of-war between enforcement, economy, and human rights. On one side, expanded use of military detention for immigrants, mass removals, including from Europe, courts filled with 42B cases where immigrants plead for protection. On the other side, a farmers and hotel owners' warning of economic collapse, industry leaders begging for relief, executive orders in the works to soften the fallout, and somewhere in the middle, millions of immigrants living in uncertainty, some with 10+ years of roots in America, waiting for a decision that could change everything. 4. Rampant ICE traffic stop arrests, routine drivers targeted. New reports from the Washington Post reveal ICE is now deputizing local police to arrest undocumented immigrants during ordinary traffic stops, even those with no criminal records. Local officers are pulling people over for basic violations like broken taillights. At checkpoints, ICE agents board and detain undocumented drivers. Some are single parents, soccer coaches, or construction workers. These aren't violent offenders. Many arrested have no violent criminal record. Some are even deported straight to detention centers abroad, like El Salvador's notorious megaprison. Final thoughts. Whether you're an undocumented immigrant, a green card holder, or someone watching these policies unfold, one thing is clear: the rules are shifting fast. And how they're applied may depend more on where you work and who you are than on fairness or consistency. Keep your eyes on 42B eligibility, prepare your documents if you qualify, and consult an attorney if you believe your case might fit. This is not the time to guess. It's the time to act smart. The U.S. immigration landscape in 2025 is more divided than ever, offering green card hope to some while detaining others under extreme measures. From legal relief through cancellation of removal to the controversial use of Guantanamo Bay and street-level ICE arrests, the stakes are rising fast. Staying informed, prepared, and legally advised has never been more important. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon for future updates. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.